Yes, please.
Okay, so we've got Lee Tickett here, core team member of GitLab. So stoked that you joined our pairing session, and you brought up really cool issue about showing an alert note with email participants that are subscribed to the issue in the commentary. But this has to do with the support desk. So these aren't necessarily like GitLab user created issues. These are issues created from the support bot, which I'm excited to explore because I'm not really familiar with this area of the application. But specifically what we're interested in is this bottom yellow looking thing. That's specifically the thing that we'll be building. It looks like coming up down the pipeline, there'll be quick actions to actually adding these emails, but that's not really in scope for this specific issue. Does that sound right?
Bingo.
Okay. Let's do it. Hopefully I don't have any embarrassing code up. So I'm going to check out master. And so you said that there's some YAML things that I might need to change, but maybe I don't need to.
The challenge we may have, let me think about this. I think we should be all right. You probably won't be able to see the service desk menu option, but it does just create issues at the end of the day. And all the service desk menu option does is shows you a list of issues that are filtered to show only issues that originated from the GitLab support bot.
Let's try to create an issue attached to a service desk both through the console and see if we can see it in our GDK. Do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I definitely don't have a user like that, so I know. I've been through all my fake users on GDK, and I don't remember a support bot being there.
Really? I'm sure. I'm convinced he must be there. We'll see.
Okay, all right. You might be right, Lee. I'm also I don't. My fake users on my GDK, they may not like me very much because I don't pay too much attention to them. So.
You're neglecting them?
You know, I wouldn't call it that, but they would call it that.
So out of interest now, you just in a quick GDK update there, or?
No, so what I actually, and I have a script, and I could share with you my my dot files, which has this script in it. Oh gosh, I'm trying to copy this thing. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with you? Okay. Which runs a number of things so that I have a very fresh GDK. So it stops the GDK, it removes cache, removes Webpack stuff, runs yarn bundle, and runs GDK start, and then migrates the database, and then waits for GitLab to start.
Awesome.
The reason it does all of this is I end up changing branches a lot. And so making sure I'm at a very fresh copy when I'm like reviewing a code or something and I don't have anything cached is really important. So I just have one script that I run to do all of that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so now it's pinging the GitLab server until we get a 200. And then it'll send a Mac notification which doesn't make any sound. So I sometimes still miss it, even though it notifies it.
But maybe you can start opening the Rails console already.
That's a great idea. Let's do it.
Because it takes a second also to open up. By the way, Paul, I'm waiting you to change your Git alias to Fusroda. You're really close.
What are you talking about?
Okay, you didn't play Morrowind.
I played Morrowind. What am I missing?
No, but it's not Morrowind that I'm talking about. I forgot the name now. It's fine. Skyrim. Okay, Skyrim.
Oh, no, I didn't play Skyrim. Yeah. No, I didn't play Skyrim. I played
your alias are Foro, so you're almost there.
What did you say?
Your Git alias are FOROH, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I fo and I row for fetch origin and reset hard origin.
So I'm glad to see it takes almost as long on your hardcore machine as it does on my Windows.
Yep. Yeah, it's takes a little bit. This is why like I have that one script for doing all this, because this is usually if I'm like, okay, I'm gonna review this, and it's like, oh, I gotta test this locally. This is when I'll get distracted. So this is like a critical moment in the day.
It's called coffee excuse.
Don't get distracted or you may not come back. That's what happens to me. Okay, this thing finished pinging and we're in the Rails console. Let's open up. And some of the things that I work on, I have to have HTTPS and other things. So that's why I have it like this. Oh, it's still taking some time. Hit users sign in directly. Okay. For some reason, I don't know if you've experienced this, but that first
direct.
First redirect seems to take a while. I don't know why. All right, here I am. Step 1 is see if I have a support user.
Absolutely.
Let's figure that out. Over here in admin, go into users. Can I just look for support?
That is the third one.
What? What? When did this thing show up? I guess it showed up on August 19th.
Not so long ago, yeah.
That's news to me. Wow. Okay. So this person just has to create some issues?
Yes.
Wow. I can't, but it's not letting me like, oh.
You can't impersonate, hey?
I guess I could do an impersonation token and we could create one through the API, but probably just me creating one and then changing the author maybe.
Yeah, or changing changing the author of one that you already have even.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. But well, let me create a new one because I don't know if like I don't know. I'll go ahead and create
any profanities in the subject, potentially.
Right. Let me go ahead and create a new one. But where do they live?
Can you just quickly check if you have any project from the support bot, because the factory here groups and projects. No, of course not.
So where do support tickets live? Any
project, really.
Wow.
Just issues.
So this even works for like self-hosted customers that are like, wow, yep. Okay, interesting.
And probably 90% people using it would be self-hosted, because I think they've only recently introduced the opportunity to customize the email address that's used.
Got it. I got issues. Okay. That's our project. Okay. And I'm going to create an issue.
So you can see Service Desk appear on that drop down actually, but it probably just going to tell you that you need to enable it. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. More information.
Okay. All right, we're going to try to hack around that.
Yep.
Your site is broke, yo. Okay. I don't know what most support
the other
issues
thing
look like.
I should have probably brought up a little bit earlier, apologies for that, is I don't know if these necessarily, whilst it's focused and aimed at Service Desk, I don't know whether it's going to be limited and restricted to Service Desk. I.e., there's no reason why an issue that's created by you, Paul, couldn't be then have external participants.
Oh, that's an issue. That's a good. That is a really good observation. And so, even though in runtime,
make a difference to what we're doing, I don't think. All we need to do is identify: are there any, and if there are, display them.
That sounds great, because I think I see what you're saying. You're saying at runtime, we may never end up in a situation where it's a non-service desk issue that has participants, but from this perspective, the only thing I'm concerned about is just this field. So whether it's a service desk or not, hey, I just need to present this field. So
I think so, yeah.
That sounds nice. I'm still curious to see if me reassigning this to the service bot desk, like how that the service bot, how that changes things. The Nico, you said you looked at the Ruby file.
It's just a model for the author. Yes, it becomes service desk.
So the author, if the author is service desk bot, okay. So if I go to,
did you get the idea of that? Yeah.
47, I think it was.
So, oh yeah, the ID is 47. So if I go to issue dot, I'm not gonna be able to find it. Do you know how to find things?
You need to find the ID
Oh, the actual ID?
of the issue.
Is that gonna show up in, this is just giving me, oh, is this it?
Yep.
431? Okay. Wow, I got really lucky there. Fine.
Just double check it. Yeah.
And then I could do author. So let me
assign it.
sbot equals user.find 47.
Yep.
Oh, that is it. Wow. Okay. Then issue equals issue.find 431. Okay. Issue.author equals sbot.
Yep. If they don't have a method for this.
Do you have to do save or something?
Looks cool if it's worked.
There you go. The author has changed to GitLab support bot. And that is it.
In theory, it should be inside the service desk now. Yeah.
Inside the service desk?
If I understood correctly.
Show up for you though.
Yeah. Yes.
What?
Simple as that.
Wow. Okay. But so that was fun. But
and as you see, it navigated back us to the issue details. So it's just all here, the changes that we need to do.
Yes. And so the main change, I'm going to go ahead and just so we're making it look like our design here, make this a confidential issue.
So all service desk issues are confidential actually. So that's something interesting that potentially we didn't see before, that we thought all we had to do was attach the support bot, but technically flagging it as confidential as well should be a prerequisite.
So it would be cool, and we don't have to do this, and for time's sake, I won't dive into it, but I bet we could find what's that service that's being triggered when the email gets sent, and we could just call that directly from the Rails console. That would be really sweet.
That's a cool trick to use in future, actually. Yeah, cool.
But I'm going to go ahead and just for completeness sake, we'll turn this on. But you're saying there's now another field here. And so the first question for me I'm asking is, I don't know if this is a Vue or a Rails thing.
Yeah, and the thing that I mentioned earlier as well is, do we need to think about, I know I got stuck on this one before. Sometimes there's both. If it's behind a feature flag, that complicates things.
It sure does.
And also, this is a new comment box, but what about if you were to add a comment and then clicking the reply to one? You've got there's multiple instances of this same box.
Yeah, and no, you bring up a good point. So, but I think it's going to be wherever we have this alert is where we would do the other alert. So you could probably just look for this message and see where is that being used, if it's in YAML and Vue.
Sounds good.
Like that. But I think this is in Vue. I think hopefully we've migrated it by now. But you bring up a good point.
The good thing is, if it is in Vue, when whoever comes to do the changes to add the quick actions, etc., hopefully they can hook in so that that's updated a bit more real time.
Yeah. Oh, notable warning. I'm not doing this right.
So on whatever you were telling before, there is a service desk handler in GitLab, lead GitLab email handlers that does what we were talking.
Cool. So we could just call that directly.
Well, maybe. Just for the sake of context.
That makes sense.
Let's dive in some front-end code. That's enough, Ruby.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. So I'm going to do something crazy. and I'm going to I want to confirm that we've targeted all the right things, and I'm going to
This
Yeah.
counts as a React background, Paul.
maybe this is definitely this is as real as it gets. Oh my gosh, it's taken a long time.
I'm recompiling the JavaScript first.
Oh,
Yep.
nice. That's as good as I was hoping it'd look. Oh, it looks beautiful.
Perfect.
Okay.
So it's the same control component being used.
Yeah. So now I'm curious, where is notable warning being used? Notable warning. And so I usually do these regex searches on VS Code, and to see if something's imported, I'll search the file name and then end it in quotes. And here it's used. Oh, and in note form it's used. So it's actually used in 2 places. Let's check
So
it out.
although it's the same component that's being used to show the warning, the
Yeah.
actual form itself is a different component, right?
Yep.
Mhm. Oh, looks like we could conflict with some other kind of stuff that's showing up here at the bottom with.
Are we fine in showing multiple alert one on top of the other if need be, or do we need a priority order? Well, this is a UX question.
If this would be a UX question, it'd be worth taking a picture of, like, what about this situation? And I can almost, well, that doesn't look good at all. Sorry. Okay. I can,
So what have you seen there that just, sorry, I mean, didn't quite quickly interpret that as you. So you saw there's already a conditional alert below the text box.
yeah, and I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if it's going to be going back to here. I don't know if it's going to, like, when that alert shows up and we have this footer, like, is that going to somehow visually conflict with each other in a harsh way? It's just, here's the thing with GitLab's front end, there's so many contexts that sometimes just adding another little message may look nice in the happy path, but in some other paths it doesn't look good. And so thankfully the code kind of screams at you when there's another context that could happen here, and we can actually we can make this true and just see what it looks like. And go from there. And if it looks fine, that's great. I'll just usually take a screenshot of what we're adding in addition to these other contexts for the UX to just review and take a look at it. And that's the thing too, is UX, they do great work, but there's so many contexts to it. And so it does take a collaborative effort for everyone to catch all of the, well, what if this, because GitLab is such a huge application. And so even similar to here, I'm seeing, oh, this is just the form actions though. And that's just, so yeah, I think we can totally add that to here. But I'm a little concerned, and I'd like to know, Nico and Doug's, like, what your opinion is. Like, we are doing this notable warning markdown field text area twice. We're about to do another thing to 2 parts of the code. Do you think we should encapsulate this?
You want to dry it up?
I always want to.
Seeing the part of the code, I would suggest caution.
I would make a mess first, and then see if there's a way to dry it up. I wouldn't start with trying to dry it up.
Okay, all right. I'm game. That works for me. And you're right. Yeah, people leave comments frequently. This is a high traffic component, so maybe. Okay.
We need both for sure, by the way, because as far as I know, everything is a note, isn't it, on the issue? Or the comment is for the thread?
I think one's for a response, on a thread, and one's for a new.
Yeah. Going back to here, because I think, one is for this bottom part, and one is, I think, for this. I'm pretty sure.
They look exactly the same. Side the buttons at the end. Okay, yes. Fine.
So we want to add this little yellow thing for
GL alert. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it. And we have a component for that, right? And it's just going to be these emails. We send a list of emails to it, and it'll say, hey, these are going to be notified. That sounds great.
Lee, do you know what is the field that is sent up?
So I think on the issue it mentioned the table, if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
But that's where I'd be interested in. I guess I've interrupted you, and you were going to come to that. Whether you would initially hard code some values and then try and wire it up, or what your approach normally would be.
I was going to hard code values and wire it up, so I was going to try to get it to visually and
Awesome.
then connect it. Is that cool with you, Nico and Doug?
Yeah, just the key. I wanted to have the same. We could have hard-coded the thing on the same key in the issue, right? Or well, you can do weave through. Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna introduce. I was thinking of just introducing another component, like we have notable warning. I was thinking of just doing one for very specific, like participant note. Please help me.
Yeah, we may need to do some concatenation of the emails, maybe. So if it's just putting the alert with text, I wouldn't. But if we have a minimum of logic, yeah, let's do a component.
Okay. I'm just gonna create one then. These all live in notes, right? This is a notes.
Yeah.
Okay, they all live in notes. All right. We have a notable warning. Where does that live? Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's not there.
It's not there.
Maybe it's a shared one.
Oh no, it's supposed to be here.
It's in view shared, no?
Oh, it is in view shared. Okay. I'm just gonna create one here called, and we can rename it later if we want to, but I'm gonna call it, these are called participants.
Yeah, was there something specific about them being external? Because I think everyone that's commented on an issue is a part.
You bring up a really good point. Yeah, external.
I hate this decision-making piece.
Participant warning.
Naming is very hard. We know, right? It's one of the hardest activity of programming.
And you're telling me, Nico, that we have a GitLab UI thing for this?
Yeah, GL alert is the same that we are using actually to make the yellow thing on the top in notable warnings. So,
Over in notable warnings? I don't.
No, we're not.
No?
So it was under the one that we will conflict for in comment or node form is GL alert.
Ah, this one. Okay.
There you go.
I'm not doing anything that's good, so I'm just gonna. Okay.
That's a little bit.
That's a little more than I think we asked for.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't have any buttons.
Yeah, remove the class maybe, and that's it.
Do we have? Do I have to pass a title to it? Can I just give it?
The title is whatever you're gonna display, I guess.
Oh, so I don't need to pass. It doesn't have like content. It's like a slot.
You can either pass a slot, or you can pass the title in the prop as it is right now.
Okay, let's just do a title then. That's fine. So this is gonna have a prop of emails. Type array.
Maybe.
Required true. And it's, oh yeah, we got components.
You need to finish the importing as well.
Oh yeah, you're right. Thank you.
No worries.
Computed.
So when you're adding a component like this, would you conditionally display it internally here or externally where you're referencing it?
I am so freaking happy that you asked this question.
Paul is ready.
Because it's a really good question.
The reason what made me jump to it is because you said required true. So if, my immediate thinking was, well, what if there aren't any? But then I guess what you're suggesting is we wouldn't call this component, or we would have something to not call it.
So and that's a good question too. When you say view required true, it just means you have to pass some value to this property. It could be an empty.
No.
It could be empty.
Cool.
But you ask a really good question of, would you do the VIF here or outside? And I personally, for this specific case, I would do it here because it's nice when all that logic can be encapsulated. but there's a cost to doing it here, and that means we have to mount this component, and then the component has to decide, I'm not going to render anything.
Gotcha.
So this is where I would do a little bit of analysis of how many of these components do I expect there to be, and if I expected there to be like anywhere in the 50 to 100 range, you want to do the logic outside the component because you don't want to mount it. Like you want to try to get that win. But if it's not going to show up very often, then it's nice for maintainability's sake to just keep it in here.
So forgive me for going down the rabbit hole, but
oh, please do.
So you've got an issue with 100 comments on it. Will this? Do you think when you click in the reply field against a comment, it will then load the component, or will it have already loaded 100 of them when it rendered the page in the first place?
That's another good question. So let's go ahead and leave a comment here. Yeah, so we only load that only if I'm actually doing it. So I think in reality,
so it's not there but just hidden.
Yeah, I think in reality, I don't think we'd end up with a lot of these.
Cool.
Can I bring a counter argument, Paul?
Sure, go for it, man.
I think the visibility logic should always be in the coordinator component. So this is a little piece of UI, right? And if you have 10 of those and they are the if are all hidden inside, when you look at the parent, you don't know who is where when, right? Instead, if the parent has all the if, show this piece if this happened, show this if that happened, right? You always know what is where at what time without going and opening. Make sense what I'm saying? So for maintainability reasons,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
I will always put it outside, unless it's a super complex logic and you have to call an API and so, okay, then encapsulate this somewhere else, right?
That's a good point. So if
that works
we
for me
wanted
too.
to call the API, we might do that inside of this component.
I can I dig it too. Yeah, I think that there's cases where both, but I like what you're saying, Nico. If I put it in here, even from if I'm reading the component, I'm gonna be like, wait, where does this show up? Like, I'm gonna be surprised if I see it here and I'm not seeing it visually. I'm gonna have to actually dive into the component and see it's not showing up. So I think that's another really good point. Man, I love these conversations. Yeah, I'm a fan, and there's also a huge win. There's a performance win for moving outside. So let's do it outside. But regardless, the emails will still be required, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't have the VF here. Oh, that makes it so easy. You're making this too easy, Nico. So
it's easier to test as well.
I know. So I'm just gonna say hello world for a second, because we're software engineers. And
Come on then, what was the magic key combo to format that?
Oh, you gotta
format on save.
You gotta get format on save, man.
That's an extension in VS Code, or
no? Yeah. It's a setting. So if you
you need to have Vedur on. If you don't have Vedur, the format on save on view file doesn't work.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's in gosh, where so here's in my workspace settings, I guess. And we actually have this in our front end guide somewhere, like for setting up VS Code specifically. Yes. So like for JSON, for GraphQL, for these other ones, I have it saying, yes, we're going to format on save for view files. And it saves so much. For me personally, I like it because it saves so much time. I don't even think about formatting, and it just happens. And we're specifying we're going to use prettier to format.
No, that's awesome. I picked up recently, left hook's been added, so a bunch of linting has saved me a number of pointless pushes. But it doesn't do prettier, so that would be awesome if I can add that in.
Check out. I'll send a link. And if someone else wants to find it, it's in our front end guide. We have this.
I'll find it.
Thanks, Nico.
Superstar. Thank you.
Yeah, we do have it somewhere. Okay, we're ready to import this thing. Import external.
Wow, there's a lot of imports in here.
Would anyone be opposed to me calling this external email? Because participant is just a really
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Okay. I don't like big words. I have to type them. Okay.
Okay, there is this formatting with prettier. I'll send it here in the chat.
Thank
There
you
you
very
go.
much.
I've been having some gnarly TypeScript issues, so I have no idea what's going on. I think, anyways, I'm gonna ignore that. And I'm going down here, and we're gonna drop our external email warning emails. Did I call it? I did email. Okay, cool. And let's, I guess, do the same thing over in node form because I don't really know which one is which.
These components are so big.
Yeah.
Line rather than 61.
That seems like a good line to put this.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're really big. There's a lot of stuff going on. All right. I can hear my computer spinning, so I know Webpack is working.
Yeah, it's there.
Oh, nice.
Is it the right spot compared to the design?
I think so.
It looked right. Let me.
So in that case, it's just the size is wrong.
Maybe get rid of that icon if we have control over that.
That would be nice. So I am going to go to our
UI guide.
Yeah,
Awesome, yeah.
we're going to go to our storybook.
You can't actually.
What? You can't get rid of the icon? Then maybe we're not using the right thing. I think it's called a call out that we're trying to use.
Well, Paul, you know, off the back of your pairing session the other day, I had to raise an MR for GitLab UI, didn't I? So maybe this will be another instance of that.
But at the same time, so this definitely takes some UX opinion because maybe we're using what isn't really an alert, like
I see
for
what you're saying.
and that might be, I think, something that's contributing here.
There is no call out here though as a component in GitLab UI,
Okay.
is it?
I don't see any. Yeah, I don't see a call out, and I can understand.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Banner is big, I think.
Yeah, I can understand. An alert seems like the purpose for this. Oh,
I think we should use alerts for this. Then that it doesn't. So
this seems really different.
But right below it, there is another GL alert in the other component. Can you uncomment the VIF?
I see, but there is a difference. Let me do that VIF, but there is a difference between, I think, these two, because that is, if you go back, and you bring up a good point, but if you go back to that one, and please feel free to say, no, Paul, you're wrong. This, I think, is based out of a user interaction. So I feel like that's what alert is for, is like, I've done something, I get something, I have a button to now work with it. And I think that this is just a note, like, and I think I think Bootstrap would call it a call out. This is just like a sticky note. Yeah,
part of me thinks that generally when you have an alert, you have an error, a warning.
Let's check Pajamas. What Pajamas says regarding. Sorry, I get fixated in trying to use GitLab UI as much as possible because it reduces our UX depth, right?
Yeah. I really thought we had a call out component.
No, we don't.
It feels like the alert demands action, or either delayed or right now. This doesn't really demand action, right?
Yeah. But then again, what about the confidential issue? Was that wasn't using GL alert, was it?
No, it was not. So,
okay.
Yeah. So this is, Nico, do you see this is what the alert looks like, that GL alert below?
Yeah. Okay, let's we can copy the markup of this confidential issue. What is that?
Note warning.
Okay. In that case.
I love that response from you, Nico. You're like,
no, I explain why I get so stuck on this, because I'm adamant to use only GitLab UI components, no CSS. at least where I can. And where I can't, I go back to the design and say, can we redesign this, please?
Yeah.
But this is not the case, right? This is not the case. I understand it is also the semantic meaning is different. So,
well, I mean, just because it's not there doesn't mean it can't be added, right? So maybe this is a good point to suggest adding it to the GitLab UI.
Yeah, that's a process, because it's not the thing is that I was verifying if there is in pajamas. I don't see in pajamas, at least not in call out or.
Really, I really thought I saw one. I really thought we had a call out in pajamas. I'm not doubting you. I'm just surprised.
What's the difference between pajamas and GitLab UI?
Well, the GitLab UI is the implementation of pajamas plus some goodies and utilities. Maybe in content.
In content, maybe.
No. Or regions, maybe one of the two. I forgot to click on regions. So if it's not in pajamas, it means that it's not being designed, right?
Yeah.
If it's not being designed, there is no procedure for it to be designed, and then we can bring it to GitLab UI.
Right.
I know, because I'm following a couple of them.
I think what we have observed is that we have a missing. There's a gap in our. Oh my gosh, where am I? Okay, there's a gap in our UX for these kind of things. Are these alerts? That's the question. And so maybe we need to create a GitLab UI issue pinging UX for like, would we call these alerts or not? And if they are, then we need to change our component to be able to support this kind of alert. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. And then we'll reference these things so we can clean them up when all that is said and done. Okay. All right. We're here. Oh, beautiful.
No, but look, the borders are upside down.
They're upside down. Nico, that was like a hawk.
You've got good eyes, man. Or probably a lot bigger screen than me, perhaps.
Yeah, I know. The three years of pixel perfect layout does this to you.
That's amazing. So, should we create a class called Issuable Note Warning Upside down? Or should we do some utility classes?
Can we just do this, like override this with utility classes?
Yeah, we can try that out. Do you got those sweet classes for me?
Yes.
So tell me what has the top warning got in terms of borders?
So it looks like this class is setting the color, and it's setting the
border.
Yeah.
Isn't that a single pixel all the way around though?
It's a single pixel all the way around, except we got rid of the bottom one.
So can you untick that to see how fugly it looks?
Let's see. Oh, but
come on.
Where is this? Where is this radius? Oh, here's the radius.
4400.
The radius needs to be inversed as well. So I have a crazy idea, and please stop me if this isn't going to work. But my crazy idea would be, because there's clearly a lot of similarity between these two things. What if we introduced a component for issuable note warning that just had a slot so that we could put whatever we want in it, but it had a property for like inverse and applied the classes, like the utility classes, based on if it's on the top or the bottom or whatever.
I love it. But I don't know if you guys will say the same thing. It's another one where the temptation is maybe to, although it seems backwards, maybe build this and then dry it afterwards.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, building this means building the reusable one if we make it with utility classes, because then you will swap one utility classes and get the reverse, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my looking at that, if it was my system I owned, I would just have the border all the way around and the radius all the way around. I don't think that would feel out of place, you know. But
this is a can of worms. Oh my gosh, yeah, I don't even know if
Who
Is this
from
one-
the UX team would come after me with a big
Oh.
stick is the question.
Look at this. Do you
What's
see how
No,
we?
I don't see. I
Do-
don't see the size.
Well, we have this rule. If the MD area is followed by an issuable warning, then we change the top border. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we need the same reverse
I
again.
didn't even know you could do that. That's super cool.
I really
CSS
like
magic.
I really like what Lee is saying, that we really should just do this border. Like the outer component needs to be responsible for the border, right? Like why can't I just create a div all the way around this?
Because then you're duplicating the logic, aren't you?
What are you talking about?
But we have it on two different components, right?
We're already duplicating the logic. This is more evidence why it should be its own component.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, if you do that, I can imagine you never get to the bottom of the rabbit hole, right?
don't say that, Lee.
Tomorrow you will see an epic open by Paul.
So I would want to do that. I honestly think that's a smaller amount of effort than doing.
You can knock it up in no time at all, right?
I feel like that's a smaller amount of effort is to just introduce a div that wraps this than doing fancy CSS to change the border for this thing and flip the border for this thing. Let's just simplify it. I think that's going to be a lot. That's going to be going in the future. It'll be nicer, and I think it'll be even nicer implementation. But we are running out of time for our pair session, so let's leave this as a to-do on the MR, and let's just get the field in, because that's the bit I think that we're really interested in. So what was that field?
So the issue's got the name. It's a table, I guess, rather than a field, which hopefully has a relationship to the issue.
Okay. And it's is it called like external participant? No.
I think you still got the issue open, haven't you, Paul? Sorry, I
I
should have
do.
it on my screen to save
No,
you.
you're good. I do have it here.
So right at the top, so service desk email participant. Oh no, that's a feature flag. Sorry, so I lied.
I could maybe look for that feature flag and see where it's used, and it's not used anywhere.
Awesome.
Interesting.
Can
you spill out the issue model from the Rails console if you still have it? Maybe we can see something real quick.
Sure.
I'll just have a quick look on my screen because I'm sure I can tell you the table name pretty quickly.
Go for it. Do you see the issue? Do you want to just look at the API response, Nico?
Yeah, it will be the actuary if it's already in the API. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was actually checking the emails. There is, I see only one.
Okay, email participant is the model, and email participants I think will be the name of the table.
And here's issue participant. Great. Okay. So let me see if I can do a search for.
But aren't those all the participants?
I don't think so.
So I'm referring to the toggle on the right that says participant. You turn it on and off and you get an email.
Oh yeah. I don't think this relates to that. I don't believe.
So here we have issue email participants, and I see it is not being exposed anywhere, which is fine. I think we do want to figure out. I'm pretty sure we're doing. Oh my gosh, our polling. Oh, I didn't give up our required prop. Then, do we fetch the issue information asynchronously, or do you think that we get it all from?
Can you check the component and where it comes from, and we navigate the props upwards?
This is just comment stuff, so I guess I'll go up.
Get user data. Oh, there is Vuex store in.
Yeah, I'll
in
go
between.
up some more. So the Notes app. Oh, notable data. That's the key, I think, is notable data. Do you want me console log that, or maybe go up to where Notes app is used?
Do you have the Vue Dev Tools on, so we can check the proxol there in the page?
That is
you're
a
using
great
Firefox.
idea. Let me go to Chrome and do it there. Oh, that's not even the right place. Let me copy this over. Boom. Okay. I've got to hop off in just a little bit, but I will definitely push up what we have done, which isn't a lot, but we had fun along the way.
I think we've asked ourselves a lot more questions than maybe anticipated.
That's good. I have my dev tools here. Let me.
So for me being, I'm going to say a newbie, UX team dream these things up and then you guys make it happen, right?
Yeah.
That's how I would describe it.
Okay. So they don't have to worry about all these little complexities and.
Paul, you can use the select button, no?
Sure. What should I select?
And wherever we want to start looking for, and then we go up.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Sure.
There you go. Notice data.
Notable data.
Yeah.
And it's not going to have anything because I didn't see that thing being referenced at all. So
do all Vue components get their data via an API call?
Some of them do. And there's a trade-off here. Like when you can defer it, you get immediate low page load because we didn't have to hit the database or anything, and the client's kind of incurring that cost, and that's nice. But sometimes you also have to keep an eye on, when is the user actually able to start doing things? And even though I make it immediate page load and we show all these skeleton loaders, like it still may be like 3 to 4 seconds where the user can actually still do stuff. So sometimes it makes sense for us to pass it just along as data attributes in the YAML. And sometimes it makes sense for us to fetch it just depending on what it is.
Gotcha.
But if you've used GraphQL, you could do some really fancy caching stuff. So fancy that it's really scary. But I'm not super familiar with all of the possibilities there. But just to close up what we're doing here, here's where we're initting the notes. And
so the notes come from YAML, yeah?
It sure seems like it does. It looks like we get
from the data set.
Notable data from this. Yeah, this is coming from JS Vue MR discussions. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, that's just merge requests. What's going on? This isn't right. Oh, this is just MR notes. I wasn't looking at the right thing. Okay.
Oh, well, it's the same though. What?
No, it's not. It can't be the same.
I made a change to the close button on the issue in MR page a couple of months back, and I found that there was
Vue notes.
4 different versions. There was a Vue version, a HAML version, a version for an MR, and a version for an issue. So could be fun.
It is fun. Yeah.
Line 8. Paul, you can pick the selector from the line 8.
Oh, perfect. JS Vue notes. Believe it or not, Lee, it's gotten a lot better. And it continues to get better. So here we do one glorious serialization of our issue. And that is where we'll want to throw this thing.
So this notable data is basically issue. Props.
Serializer. Oh yeah, we're gonna go to the issue serializer. Yep. Oh.
So you don't think it'd be worthwhile having a separate API call potentially to?
No, for this.
No.
That's a really good question.
I guess because it's going to be empty a lot of the time, would maybe answer that question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's related to it. I would hesitate to do that too, because that introduces another like
Database here.
point of failure that could go wrong.
Right. Okay.
Rather
And
than
also,
go ahead.
it's in between your page, right? So you will get content moving around when that becomes true.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's, but that's not to say we shouldn't, because this may be a huge database cost that we incur every time. So it does take keeping an eye on it and really getting someone that is aware of all the variables and what we want to do here. So what I would suggest doing, we have a feature flag, and clearly we don't need to do this if it's not a service. It sounds like we don't need to do it if it's not a service bot thing. So those are some nice flags that we can do to prevent us from having to do this like other table request. And that's what I would want to capture maybe here in this serializable, is only give this field if I really need to. And then I think we're kind of nice. So, but this is where we're going to want to expose some property for us to read in that component, getting the notable data. And we can work on it asynchronously on the MR. I'll go ahead and push this up so we can just keep chatting about it. But this is so much fun.
Yeah, awesome to see you face to face, and thanks for welcoming me on.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up the issue. And I had never really worked with service desk stuff before, so it was good learning the domain. And so thanks, Lee.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you later.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Doug. Thanks, Nico.